Welcome back everyone to Venlo Zoo, our Dutch city zoo project. We are already quite into it, and last episode we did this wonderful desert house exterior habitat with some camels and gazelles and also some porcupines roaming around. If you're interested, make sure to check the last episode because it's important for today's episode, simply because we are doing the interior today. So welcome to the latest episode. This is going to be finishing the desert house. It's quite something we did today. So the time lapse is A, relatively quick, and B, I left out a couple of things you will see in the real-time part. Also, you can see on screen we have great deals at the moment on instant gaming. Check the link in the description. I don't do a full advertisement this time around, but you saw it. They even have the latest DLC of Sims 4 Lovestruck, and with very great values. It's like a campaign right now, so check the link in the description and get these wonderful discounts for yourself and play the game. Or if you need any of the Planet Zoo DLCs you don't have, you can grab them, including, for example, the Arid DLC, because some of these animals from the Arid DLC will be utilized in today's build. Now, I have to talk about a lot of things regarding this desert house. As I've already mentioned in the last episodes, this has been inspired mostly by the desert house in Burger Zoo, and the reason why is relatively obvious. This is the latest desert house I've been to, and I've been very positively surprised by it. I still have the feeling of going in and having this like very hot environment, and I remember we've been there the last time. The weather hasn't been that great, to be honest. In Europe it's relatively easy at the moment. Weather is basically 99% of the times not great, so that makes sense. But like getting in this very dry and hot house kind of zooms you into a totally different environment, and I liked the idea how much it basically sold the story. It really sold the story. I mean, outside you have some beautiful habitats too, but including this insane hot environment and the colors and everything like that, it just brings you into this different world. And this is something I wanted to translate with this build. While I was building, I encountered a problem, which, like, it's not really a problem. It was more like a challenge. The house is smaller than I expected it to be. Now, I have done this V shape in the last episodes to just mimic the Venlo, first letter. What I didn't really think about is how big it is at the end of the day. And now the thing is, I was building and trying to make the habitats, and you know how the traversable area in Planet Zoo works. Sometimes it's a little bit of a bish, and this is why you need to still have some space, even in Sandbox mode. And I wanted to make these habitats a little bit more realistic and size-wise good. Like, I didn't pay attention to traversable area. I didn't want to make it work in terms of Planet Zoo. I want to make it work in terms of realistically how it would be. And this is the reason why I needed to change some of my ideas and bring in less, or I would say less exhibits than I wanted to. But at the end of the day, I'm still very happy and very pleased with how it turned out. You will encounter some backstage elements everywhere, but I won't talk too much about this because you will see this in the tour. We have a pretty long tour this time around, which is really looking into each individual thing we built in here. And there are a couple of little details I'll do that you will not see in the time-lapse because I just cut them out. It was a bit too finicky and too stressful to watch. Frankly, I just recapped the footage and I was like, okay, there was way too much mouse movement involved, and that would make you dizzy, even more than this already. So I decided to just keep it out. I'll leave it out because there was no point in keeping that in. But you can see I'm really using and utilizing a lot of different techniques here to blend together the different rocks. I'm using a lot of these 4 rocks to play around with the desert style. I use some of the normal rocks, the desert, and the, oh gosh, I forgot. It's not only the desert rock, it's also the, what was that? The temperate ones or so. Anyways, they blend together very well, and this is why I utilize them instead of others. And then I also brought in some of the, I'm not even sure what exactly that is. It's like these things we always use for roots and stuff as well. They're also from the aquatic packs. I'm not sure if they're also called 4 rocks, but these 3 types together really make for a great combination of rocks. And I wanted to mimic a little bit of the landscape of the desert area, and Even though I was a little bit worried about the usage of plants last time around, some of you have commented that it's not even that much of an issue, and some people in the sneak peek channel on my Discord channel, which is when you are a member of a YouTube channel, you can also join my Discord, and there is a dedicated sneak peek channel only for Twitch and YouTube subscribers / members. I like it's subscribers on Twitch, members on YouTube. I still hate that they can't freaking use the same wordings. It drives me nuts. But anyways, so at the end of the day, this is exactly what you can expect in there. And there was also some feedback on the fact that it can actually be a bit more greener in terms of using, well, plants from the arid area, nevertheless. And it's a bit more of an oasis here anyway. So yeah, I think that works. And I paid a lot of attention to making sure that none of these elements stuck out to the other side. I wanted to have the outside walls of the desert house very clean, making sure everything is contained. Not too many windows, because obviously the windows on the ground would be a bit of a temperature issue, simply because, you know, the more windows you have, the more leakage in a way of heat you have, specifically in the winter, making the energy consumption the more complicated. And the same you would think the same was possible with the roof, but it's not like that, because heat goes all the way up, and you can create somewhat of a heat cushion in that sense, and utilize the sunlight going on these tilted window shades and or windows, and then making sure that the glass is actually actively heating the house itself. So that's what I wanted to do, and so that it doesn't go outside. This is also obviously why you have airlocks. And then I was placing some more heaters in here to actually make the house hot. That's the point, that's the idea, and I really feel like it turned out very beautifully. Honestly, the more I was putting in details, the more I was feeling it, and the more it came together. And maybe I need to turn to talk about something, because I've mentioned that on YouTube, and I've also mentioned that on Discord. I think it's an insane build, not per se because the build is insane looking at it, or like very insane because I don't know, developed a pretty new technique or whatnot. That's not the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make is really getting across the feeling of an actual desert house and making sure that everything is involved in it. So having these planters, you can see this one over here I'm very proud of. This is one of these typical desert house planters you have. And then just using different methods to blend together plants and rocks, and laying out the path in a nice way so it feels organic, as if the house is really built around the habitats and not built around the pathing, and making sure that all these things really nicely feel organic together, you know, that this is really a well thought out house in terms of the layout. And there's actually a lot more work that went into making sure the layout works compared to how it looks later on. I needed to really work well with the space given, and this is why you won't actually find any gaps in this house at the end of the day, because there aren't any. I needed to really make sure everything is built nicely. Oh, by the way, this is also completely without mods. At the moment, I stopped using mods. I will start again, but I will first of all figure out that I will keep this game running without mods, and this is why at the moment I'm not using any mods. I will have to use free build again to get rid of some of the additional pathings we have, because these are causing the most issues, as you figured maybe from the Zoo Sicily. People who have toured Zoo Sicily, which I'm still very thankful for, they have mentioned that we couldn't get the park shared without them installing the same mod that I had used, and this is the PZ plus Hex plus pathing mod. And I first of all need to get rid of all these paths I have used from the mod, and then I can reload into the park. But the problem is some of the paths can only be edited with free build, so I gotta get this back in. But just to be mentioning, this build itself is completely mod free, if you will. So the space usage and stuff like that is not using any mods or any cheat or whatnot, and this makes it all even more insane, because some of the things really look like as if they're modded. I moved around pieces so many times until they snapped in, and you can't even imagine how stressful it was to lay out the actual barriers, because for whatever odd reason, Planet Zoo sometimes is super weird when it comes to making habitats work. So if you just, for example, connect two habitats with each other and then put a barrier in between, then you should have 2 habitats. But sometimes this game just completely ignores it, and I do have the perimeter activated for sure, so before you ask that, and I don't know, it just is weird at some point. This is, by the way, where you can see that I was trying to get rid of some of the pathings, but it didn't work, so that's where I figured I will need the mod, but for most parts I was able to use it in a nice way. So yeah, this is almost already it for the time-lapse. The last thing you're seeing is the first touches of the sandcat habitat. Many of you wished to have the sandcat in, so I decided to go for it, but I figured that the given space was a little bit too small, and so I actually created another raised area to which they can climb over, which again may not be the most realistic thing in the world, but I really felt like this is a nice touch, having a bit more interactivity in here, and you know, in comparison to all the other animals, I think it's the one animal that, if it escapes, wouldn't cause too much harm. In comparison to a camel roaming around, or a peccary hitting people, or a porcupine, you know, these would cause more issues. So at the end of the day, I was trying to get this across, and I feel like it was a good idea. It looks good. I put in some some meshes here and there to ensure that they can't escape, but to be honest, is it really that much of a thing? I don't know. It's just it isn't. Anyways, if you're curious how this looks in game, well, stick with me, because in a second we are jumping over into the real-time part. You just see a little bit of a last couple of clicks here to make a custom tree, which I always like doing. I like a climbable tree, something really cute, and something really that just kind of gives this an own touch, a unique touch, and I like this. It's just something to look at and enjoy. Anyways, it's time to hand you over to the wonderful and amazing Real-Time Rudy, who's touring you through the desert house. So take off your jackets, make sure that you are having a cool drink, and let's go on a tour through the finished desert house. You cannot imagine how excited I am to guide you through this desert house. We are obviously starting where we've already been in the past. This is the outside view of the wonderful meerkat habitat. You can already tell there are 2 new fellas glitching through each other. The artworks are now part of the meerkat habitat too, simply because I felt like these need to be in here, and they just, you know, they share the habitat because they have an interspecies bonus, and this is why obviously I thought this is a good idea. Now we're taking the right hand side. Oops, there's someone box. I don't care about that right now. And we're going to go inside of the desert house. I have to be careful because otherwise you will see something in the background. A sneak peek of what's gonna happen next. Well, I'm gonna keep it hidden, because next episode is gonna be very crazy. Anyways, we are still in that one, and now let's have a look at this wonderful desert house. A lot has happened that you guys have not seen in the time lapse, because I've really gone into the details, and I said this is gonna be insane, not because of, like, it's nothing in here is relatively insane in terms of too big or whatnot, but the overall management of space and layout, that has been crazy, and a couple of things still don't work. There are barriers in the ground, but I don't know really why they do not work, so gotta fix that out, figure that out. Right, I think I fixed that. It's a little bit odd why they went in here. Anyways, let's first of all have a look at our new member. One of our new member is Steve-O. So Steve-O, welcome to the members crew. You obviously got your spot in here. 2 others are basically in here too, so keep an eye out for more mentions. I will show them, obviously. This is the habitat you all already knew, so I'm gonna skip over this one relatively quickly. But what you will see are some changes in the planters. So they all get this kind of granulate kind of down here. Like, obviously I used the X again for it, and you know, we might have some stutter here and there, but I mean, look at this vista here with the camels to the outside and the gazelle. Oh god, love that. So yeah, I rearranged some of the planters. I put some heaters in here, obviously, and you may actually get some music vibes down here. I will have toned down my music of the editing, so you will get all the ambience music, hopefully, from the desert house, because I did put something in. And now we already, let's actually go here. There you can get a bit more of the music. We have some of these speakers hidden in here, which I think is great. The planter in the middle. Everything is custom, as you can see. It just may look as if it's exactly this way, but everything is custom. We do have a double secure, like with the glass, but we also do have a little bit of security here so that camels don't get too close and comfortable to the glass, and just making sure that this is somewhat secure. Like, not that camels are like super dangerous, but they, you know, here and there may actually bite someone, and we don't want that. Hello, you little kid. Ah, love that. I like that too with my daughter. She always wants to go along with me, holding hands sometimes. I mean, she's becoming a bit more of a free agent, wanting to explore herself. And then we obviously have like this tiny little entrance here, everything carefully assembled so that this all works pretty well. We have these wall designs that I have done actually after the recording, because I felt like something is off and I need something else. And I came up with the wall designs with the mud walls from the Africa pack, which I do think they are brilliant, and they give the desert vibe a little bit more context. I like that. So we have this little shop over here, a bit of a tilted variant, just making sure that this looks a bit more interesting. You've seen there was the gate in there. So that's the thing. Before we move forward, you can see here is the entrance to the backstage in general. Like, this is the entrance. We have like a bit of an ambient speaker here. So that's where the people can go in and then go into the underground area. And in here, we do have our peccaries. And I really do like these animals in general. And I feel like they fit in here super well. The interspecies enrichment they have doesn't really help. Like, these animals, they do share a habitat with, don't really fit in here that much, I guess. But they have a nice habitat. They have like an entrance over here to get into their backstage area. It's a relatively spacious habitat for them. Only 2 of them available. They have a bit of an outside area. I needed to take away a bit of the outside part of our camels, but I think they're still fine with it. And if we go all the way to the end, we have a nice little customized, I want to say, vending machine, which I think is pretty nicely hidden in here, carefully assembled with some plants and planters. And then we also have another exhibit that I've put in later, because I felt like we need one more exhibit. Look at I've never built this one. This is the Eastern brown snake, and I don't know why I avoided that in the past, but I feel like this is one of the more beautiful ones. Let's just clip in here. There you go. Look at this beauty. Really nicely done. I really like the habitat they have. I like this plant specifically over here. I really want to have this plant. We don't have it in the game, and I don't know why. And we need this. But, well, yeah, that's this. Oh, look at that. There's another one hidden here between the rock. So, yeah, really, I am a big fan of these habitats if you can make them work like this. I feel like this one is very nicely tucked in. Also with that little edge in here, which is obviously the column to the side of the habitat. I feel like it gives it context, and I really do think it looks nice. Then we have a little honorable mention of Puffin. Puffin has been a member, but he rejoined lately, so I thought, like, you know what, just come in, because that's pretty much what we do here, so that's cool. I do figure, and this is something I will fix eventually, these walls are pretty high over here, and we only have that one kid friendly area, which is this one, where the kids can look in. I mean, they have a fairly decent view, because they can almost see everything, but I may actually add one more so they see a bit more. I mean, we have some stones over here where they can climb on and then have a look. Like, if I'm a kid, this is the kid's perspective, we can still look inside of the habitat, which, you know, is fair. It's fair. It just works. And yeah, there's another vending machine over here, making sure people have enough water. I really wish we have like I do love the vending machines, but I wish that we could decide which brand that is. Rather having all the brands, just having a choice and you know, say this or this or this brand, and then the product is just different. And we could have one maybe like custom billboard variant where we can put our own design on. That would have been lovely. But anyways, yeah, back to the camels. We need to go into the other direction, because this is also where a lot changed. You can see there's quite a bit to explore in here. It's very hard to get that into a screenshot. This is where the sand cat is living. A very prominent and very famous request for this build. Sandcat was definitely number 1. They have this insanely nice climbing tree over here, which they don't really use, which is a pity. I wish they have like a custom animation like the Aimer leopard, where they can lay down on one of these columns nicely. But they also do have the chance to climb over here to this raised area. It's not like, this is maybe the one thing that is not super realistic, but I just wanted to have this idea. Oh, look at that. It's sitting on top there. I didn't even spot this. Hello, my friend. How you doing? I mean, at the end of the day, these are cats, and sure, they could jump down here, but eventually I would need to put like a, something below, and I did, and then I figured the game doesn't want that, because the animals can jump on that and then escape. And the way I did it now, they do not escape. And honestly, they are kind of shy anyway, so they would potentially would actually stay away from people anyway. So I feel like this is a somewhat doable way, doing it that way. But otherwise, I secured it pretty nicely so that the kids don't get into the habitat and get the idea that this is a nice little kitty to pet, which it isn't. So that's the idea. Again, they also have their access to the backstage area. There's another hidden door, which the staff can enter from inside, and then also kids do look from down here. We have a bit of a seating area with another backstage door. They're all very nicely hidden, where you can sit down and have a drink. Then we have this little area where you can grab another drink yet again. And then on the left hand side, this is the habitat you already know from our wonderful, what was that again, the porcupines that can access this area. I changed a couple of the things in the background here, making this a bit more deserty looking. And then we go to one of my favorite planters I guess I've ever done. Inspired by Venlo Zoo Desert House. They have all these different heights, and I didn't really have that much space to build this in here. It's, at the end of the day, it's not even that of a big house. And so I decided to make something like this over here. Again, with these little granulate. It's not even granulate how you say it in English. Anyways, the idea is that these things are like similar soil, like they have similar how you call that, nutritions in them than soil, and then it's just more dry for all the dry plants. That's how like all these cacti and so on grow nicely. So we have a very nicely arranged planter over here, and turning around we yet again have another coffee, Street Fox coffee planter, and another array of 2 different habitats. And we have another mention of Trent Baylor. Just mentioning, for those of you who want to join, obviously it's only 99 cents. Then you will get your very own space in this project, and you will have access to all the emotes. We have unlocked another emote slot, and we are only missing out 4 people to yet again have another one. So 2 new emotes can get in. You can vote which type of emotes you want. So that's pretty nice. I just recently figured. And yeah, so these are also pretty nice little exhibits. Like I didn't do too much with those because, you know, you can't really do too much. I wished that it's easier to combine those two, but at the end of the day, you can see I just did this with a piece in the middle, so they look at least pretty much as if this is one coherent build, and then there was just a wall in between to make sure that these 2 animals don't get together. So on this side, we do have, I don't even know which animals. I think this should be the Gila monster or Gila monster. Again, I have no idea how you pronounce that. Some people say Gila, some say Gila or whatever. It's actually a beautiful animal. It's actually a beautiful animal. Okay, so that's this one. Oops. How did I even get up here? Oh, look at the... Oh my god, look at the view. I've never figured this view is so cool. Oh my god, this could actually be a thumbnail worthy view over here, but I still want to go down. There you go. We're back down. Because I want to figure out... This should be the rattlesnake or so. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, or the hornet one? Is that the hornet one? I think that's the... Yeah, that's the hornet viper. Let me just quickly check that because I don't know. Common death adder. Oh my god. I wasn't even close. So yeah, this is the desert house, my friends. And I am very, very happy with how it turned out. I feel like it's one of my best indoor builds I've... Excuse me? What's that? Oh my god, look at that. Oh my god, what's that even? It's definitely one of my bestest indoor builds I've ever done. And I know this is something you say relatively often, but I haven't really done that many big houses, especially not desert styled, and this is why I feel like this is really amongst my best ones. I just really like how it's laid out. I really like how you can meander through here. It's giving... I think it makes a brilliant use of the size, because at the end of the day, it isn't even that big. It's like... Yeah, you can actually see. This is like... Wait, this is like a 4-meter thing. So it's maybe somewhat 16 meters maybe in total of width. So it's really not that much, to be honest. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. And obviously, as always, we just fly over and fly through this little loop from above. I don't want to go outside this time around because there's not really that much that changed. Just showing you real quick. It's just like this part of the peccary. That's all that changed. And it's just going to move around here and fly in. Look at that, my friends. Oh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. I really, really, really like this. Look at that. Yeah, that's definitely something I would call a proper desert house. And actually, this is exactly what I envisioned when I was building it. And you can now decide in the comments if you think so too. I don't want to show you what we will do next because obviously I have already started and this is the save I was going into. So I'm just going to try to avoid showing you by flying this way. Yeah, look at that. This is cleverly done. So this is the house from the outside, just giving you a last little view. And I do hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did. I hope you guys are as excited for the next one. And as always, if you want to, know more about this game, Planet Coaster 2, and so on, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I would be more than happy to welcome you in the next one. Until then, have a lovely day. And don't forget to like the video if you did like the video. I talk to you in the next one. Have a wonderful weekend and goodbye.